Tampa Bay Bucks and the Atlanta Falcons. Right now, the Falcons are 4 to 4.5 point favorites over the Bucks. 40.5 is your total. So as we sit here, Adam, we know that the Bucks have said they are going to at least play their starters. What we do not know is how long they're going to play their starters. I think it is probably my guess is this is probably the coaching staff thinking, hey, we actually found a little bit last week. We actually got a little bit of stuff going. Let's at least get a few series and try to build upon Tom Brady hitting Mike Evans for 3 massive touchdowns, et cetera, et cetera. That's my guess. Now, does that mean a few series? Does that mean a quarter? Does that mean the first half? Does that mean the majority of the game? All of this plays into whether this is massively mispriced or priced appropriately. How do you kind of view what you think might go on here?
My overall thought is, are Tampa's backups 4.5 points worse than what the Atlanta Falcons are throwing out there right now? Because it's not as though this Desmond Ridder-led offense has been running up and down the field on anybody. So even if you have Tampa's defensive backups in there, is Atlanta going to be able to score? So I think that the two ways that I would look at this is the slightly riskier way would be to take the points with Tampa Bay. But I have no idea how Tampa's number 2 offense and what we've seen out of the Atlanta offense get to the number. Right? That to me is the straighter path into this game. Is if you look at the total, and 40.5 honestly feels kind of high in a year when we've seen 35s on the board. Are we giving that much respect to what we saw out of Tampa's offense last week? Because for the 16 before it didn't look very good.
Steven, we take a look here at, nothing to play for the Bucks. They are locked in, locked up, nothing to move, nothing, whatever. We know where they're going to be. Falcons, I mean, if you want to say any sort of motivation, I guess the only thing would be from a Falcons perspective, you do have a rookie quarterback. You still want to get the guy quality reps. You still want to see what you have in Desmond Ridder, et cetera, et cetera. So there is that playing into all of this. 4.5. What are you seeing as to how this game might play out?
I agree that this line is closer to being completely mispriced than appropriate. And for starters, the opponent they're playing, like Adam said, the Falcons don't beat anybody by margin. Like, they played David Blau last week and needed a last-second field goal just to win the game when they were 6-point favorites in that game. So this has been a storyline for us with Atlanta all season long. You do not want to bet them when they are favored by more than a field goal. Often don't want to bet them when they're favored at all. So with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, I do think there is something to them wanting to play for at least some portion of this game, their starters, to make sure that they're trying to, run a little bit closer to a clean offense. They admittedly, from the interviews I've seen, don't feel great about where they are. They still want to continue to have momentum going into the playoffs. And it took them getting down 14 points again last week against the Panthers to finally open it up and say, the hell with the run game that hasn't worked all year long. And with that negative game script, they wound up throwing it 45 times and only rushing it 25 times, scored 30 points and had more than 6 yards per play. So, I mean, note to self, when they play Dallas next week, if they get down early, they're actually going to be the better version of their offense because they're not going to be able to run the ball. So I might be in a live betting opportunity there. But for this week, this was the lines.com Discord channel bet of the week. I mean, we got this at plus 7.5 earlier this week with Tampa Bay. So we're sitting on a great number. But even for those that aren't in the market yet, this feels to me like Jacksonville, Houston from last week, where the market thought all the starters weren't going to play, but all the reports out from the team were that they are going to play. So at the very least, if you are concerned the Bucs aren't going to play in the second half, you're getting plus money on the superior team here in the first half. I mean, I think you can get like plus 140 on the Bucs in the first half. So, I'm fine with playing the Bucs any which way at these numbers, to be honest with you. And if you're concerned starters are going to get pulled, just play them in the first half at really good numbers.
Yeah, I am more apt to take the points with the Bucs. I'm certainly more apt to play them in the first half than I would be ever laying anything with this Falcons team. The defense is absolutely atrocious. They've shown nothing on offense, really. I think Ritter may end up actually being fine when it's all said and done. But, again, I don't have any reason to believe that that's going to just magically manifest here in week 18 all of a sudden against the Bucs. So again, I would be much, much more apt to take the points in this one than I would be laying anything at all.